Remember, recover, return, people of the purple sun. People who know that the real world is nowhere else but within you. And there are three things our great and beautiful mother has taught me that reflect star, star, star. The thing that people unknowingly reference as God without a subjective experience of. There are three things that reflect in the real world this thing that is beyond reality. Some people say it is reality, but there's no proof of what it is. There's no words to describe it, and I would not know anything without the experience of smoking 3 giant hits of DMT, and suddenly I was looking at something completely beyond description. I would like to say something about what I was seeing, hearing, feeling, but there are no words. People who claim to know it, the 3 stars we like to call it, or the 3 asterisks, are either naive to a strange extent, or they are working thelema on you. Which draws you into the Judaic, Islamic, Christian, Abrahamic, Jewish world. But the myth of the Old Testament and New Testament do not in any way represent the blank, blank, blank. What does is the sun in the sky that gives all life. Don't believe anyone who tells you they know what the sun is with fancy words. I don't know who first came up with this quote. I heard Candace Owens say it. It is alarmingly true. If you want someone to believe a lie, put it in a book. In our age, people think writing down something validates it. Pure insanity. The second thing that best reflects star, star, star is your true self. You are so complex, so powerful, that you've always been here, creating. You are the creator of everything that is you. There is no creator of your essence, of your true self. There's no creator of the physical world. It was and is and will always be here. And the third thing, beyond description, is the mushroom. And only through experiencing the magic mushroom will you say to yourself, experientially, you will say, what is it? And these teachings were in the context of war on Yahweh. And that if you cannot put it in reverse and walk backwards through your life, back to remembering who you were 1 second before entering the matrix, you cannot defeat Yahweh Crowley. And this night, in continuation of the timeline, I was in the thick of the war on Yahweh. And a friend of mine, in between these rituals, challenged me about who this woman was, the Missouri River Goddess, the little blonde lady, the avatar of the Queen of Atlantis. And his challenge was, she is you. She is the right side of your brain, or is that mind? He didn't know. She's your feminine energy. Well, I told her that, and she said, funny how that fits in to the timeline of my teachings and initiating you. I said, what? And in this ritual, I had drank the mushrooms. I flew out of my body and was standing with her, telling her this. And she said, well, I will prove to you beyond any doubt that I am a separate person than you and that I am your real mother, and I am also your teacher, your goddess, and the only way for you to get out of here. And suddenly as incredible as it sounds, I was back in my mother's womb. And I was remembering my birth into the matrix. I was fully conscious like I am right now. And I was rather alarmed because my mother had taken a painkiller drug, and it made me feel awful. And in the womb, I became paranoid. And I really believe this is what really happened. And I started thinking, they're going to kill me. They're going to try to kill me. And this was part of the whole theme of War on Yahweh, was they knew who I was before I did, and before I actually entered the world. They knew who I was in my mother's womb. And as outrageous as it sounds, unconsciously, the doctor did try to kill me. Well, as I was being born, I was also giving birth to astral project out of the vision into another, I shouldn't say vision, memory. And it was very uncomfortable, and I kept saying, I can't do this. I believe my mother was saying that, and that's why I kept saying it. But I also felt that way about birthing this vision memory that was coming. And finally, I seen it. A beautiful young girl, 5-6 years old, with all this beautiful long blonde, brown hair, with her light brown skin, looking up at my wife. And it froze, and Maria said to me, when I tell you, and only when I tell you, you tell your daughter it is okay and it's good to have a baby. It's okay. Don't worry. said, "That's the baby?" She said, "It sure is." And no lie, some 6 months later, I had did a ritual, maybe more, maybe 7, 8, 9 months, but at least 6. I did a ritual, and at the end of it, Maria said to me, "The next time you see your daughter, tell her what I told you. The very next time you see her, tell her today's the day." And I said, "Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, the baby, right." And about 10 minutes later, I walked out of my bedroom and I heard my daughter go into the bathroom. Then she walked out to the kitchen and I said, "Hey, 6 months ago I had my teacher, goddess, the Missouri River goddess, tell me to tell you that it's okay and good to have a baby. Don't worry about anything." And she said, "No way, Dad. No way." She said, "I just woke up from a dream where I was pregnant and was on my way to the hospital to have a baby. No way." I said, "Yeah, she's real. She's not me." And my daughter went on to have that precious child, who is now my granddaughter, who has a very powerful psychic able mind. And back to the ritual night, after I seen the baby grown up, 6 years old, my mind clicked and I was back 12, 13 years previous, in my 20s, when I was a Rastafarian and I was in Florida on a fishing boat with a literal Rastafarian cult leader, process church, taught black magician, and maybe one day I'll go into how Rastafarianism, of course, a Christian Jewish branch, was a complete, total British Crowleyite process project, I guess, mind control project. Well, this man had convinced me that he was my friend, and I invested on a fishing boat with him. And in my ritual, I clicked into the memory I was on the back of the fishing boat with him. And I said, "Oh, yeah, I want to know the truth about all this. What is this?" And it was a night that we spent all night fishing miles out in the ocean, off the coast miles away. And I was the witness, seeing myself in him. And I started to remember how uncomfortable I felt. And there were 3 of us fishing off the back of this boat. And I see myself, and I put my headphones on because I am feeling uncomfortable. And I see the cult leader with his dreadlocks, and I see his brother. And all of a sudden, I see a man in a robe, a brown hooded robe. And at the time, I had no idea who he was, and I still don't know for sure. I seen him come, float down, and stand right beside me. Then he bent over and whispered in my ear. And I have a very good photographic memory. I remember having thoughts, which I now believe was this man, who may have been my true self, may not have been. I remember having thoughts of, like, this is the last time I'm doing this. This is not for me. I am not a fisherman. And then I seen this hooded monk, druid-looking man float over to the cult leader and whisper in his ear. And I said to Maria, "What's he saying?" And she said, "Concentrate." And I did, and I could hear his voice saying, "What you meant for him is going to happen to you. What you meant has been reversed." And then I seen him float up about 10 feet. And I turned to Maria and said, "Who is that man?" And she said, "I'm not sure. I thought you would know." She said, "Maybe it's Stephen King." And I laughed and said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "It's me. I've been using the Stephen King stories to synchronize with your life." I said, "It's you. I know, the hawk and all that. It's all been in the books." For as I was reading The Dark Tower, for example, there's a book where the main character's wife, young, in love, his true love, is taken by a mob and sacrificed, just like my memory in my previous ritual. And I could go on and on how it was in synchronicity with the books. And now she was telling me it really, and she was joking about maybe that's Stephen King, to make the point that, and she said to me, I could use any book. It's reflection of the true self that teaches. Anything can be used to communicate with the true self. And no lie, she said, watch. And I turned back to see my own memory. And this is no lie. From that moment that he whispered in the cult leader guy's ear, a storm rolled in. He said, wow, I didn't see this. We got caught in the storm as we are trying to leave the boat. Engines got caught on a buoy tied to the bottom of the ocean. And in a storm, the boat was tied secure, so it was pulling the boat apart. And they both had to jump in the water and cut this huge, huge rope off the boat. And for real, something nearly killed him. And I sat on the boat watching them almost drown and panic. And then I was back with Maria, and she said to me, don't be offended, but so far, Stephen King has been your author, speaking to your avatar, the true self. The true self has been speaking through King's books to you, the avatar. But I, your mother, your goddess, and your teacher, have come on the scene to tell you Stephen King may be your earthly author, but Miguel Serrano is my author. And I want you to go on your little Google, and the very first book you see, buy it. And I promise you, it will be the real thing.